Hello grade 8 students, welcome to our video tutorial in Mathematics 8, week 3 and 4 of quarter 2. Before we start, if you are new to our channel, kindly click like, share, and subscribe for you to be updated for the next tutorial. Our topic is all about relations and functions. What is a relation? A relation class is a set of ordered pairs x, y, where x is the input or the first coordinate. So this is called the input or the first coordinate, and y is the output or the second coordinate. A set of all first coordinates of the ordered pair is called the domain of the relation, while the set of all second coordinates is called the range of the relation. A relation class can be represented in many ways. It can be in a form of ordered pairs, in a form of table, as a graph, or a mapping diagram. Now let us start with an ordered pair. Let us answer example number 1. Find the domain and range of the following relation. So as you can see, the given is in a form of set, where set A is a set containing 120, 2 100, 3 180, 4 200, 40. So this is an example of a relation. A relation represented in a form of ordered pairs, because it is a set of ordered pairs. Okay, if we say domain, as we defined, domain is the set of all first coordinates of the ordered pair. Okay, so this is our set. Okay, to determine the domain, all you have to do is take a look at the first coordinate. So this one, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So man sila ang mga first coordinates. Since we're talking about set of all first coordinates. So if this is set, it should be enclosed by a braces. So as you can see, the domain is a set of 1, 2, 3, 4. Range. What is the range? As we define, range is a set of all second coordinates. So meaning this one, 120, 100, 180, and 240. Again, it should be enclosed by a braces, since this is a set. This one. Letter B, a relation is represented through table. So as you can see, in column 1, under column X, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the domain or the set of all first coordinates. And this one, under column Y, these are the range or the set of the second coordinates. Okay, letter C. Letter C, our relation is represented through graphing. As you can see, there are 4 points plotted. Point E, point B, point C, point D. Point A, that is 112, coordinates 112. B, that is 210. Point C, that is 318. And D is 424. So, katong mga first coordinates, katong 1, 2, 3, and 4, again, mo to sila ang mga domain. And then, katong 12, 10, 18, and 24, mo to sila ang mga range. So, meaning, kaning graph is still a representation of a relation. Okay, last one is a mapping diagram. As you can see, there's an arrow. Okay, the values of x map to the values of y. 1 is mapped to 120, 2 is mapped to 100, 3 to 180, 4 to 240. Again, this one are the domains, and this one are the range. Still, this mapping diagram is a representation of a relation. Let's continue. Okay, what is a function? A relation class is called a function if no two distinct ordered pairs in it have the same first coordinate. For example, the relation set containing -1, 3, 0, 4, 1, 4 is a function. Why? Because our first coordinates -1, 0, and 1 are different. Diba, as we defined, if we say function, walay magkapareha na first coordinates. Otherwise, that is not a function. Let us continue. On the other hand, the relation set containing -1, 3, 0, 4, -1, 4 is not a function since the ordered pairs -1, 3 and -1, 4 have the same first coordinate. So in short, to determine if the given relation is a function or not, all you have to do is you take a look at the first coordinates. So tanawon lang nimo. If walay nagkapareha, then that is a function. Otherwise, kung nay nagkapareha, like this one, -1, 3 and -1, 4, then that is not a function. Example number 2. Which of the following relations is a function? Okay. Set R containing 8, -2, 0, 0, 8, 3, set S, this one, and set T. Okay, our answer for that, only relation T is a function. Why? Because in set R, as you can see, ito na ang first coordinate. Okay? Okay, the same sila. 8, -2, and 8, -3. And so as the set S, 1, -1, 1, 1. So, set R and set S is not a function. So, we have vertical line test. The vertical line test class is a test that can be used to determine if a relation is a function. Okay, this test or this technique can be applied if the given relation is a graph. Okay, what does it mean? Ano sa meaning ani or sa gamit? Ang vertical line test class states that a relation is a function if a vertical line does not pass through more than one point on the graph of the relation. What does it mean? So, kung naaday kay graph, to determine kung function ba siya or not, all you have to do is to draw a vertical line. Vertical line. Then, tanaw na to ang imong vertical line kung pila ka points ang ijang naigo. So, kung intersect siya at only one point or single point, then that is a function. Imo yung solution. Mag-draw lang kag vertical line through the graph, then imo i-check kung pila ka points ang i-touch. So, does any vertical line touch more than one point? No. Dili man more than one point, kaya only one point man lang. Okay, then, since a vertical line does not pass through more than one point, the graph passes the vertical line test. So, the relation is a function. Another example. Example number 4. So this is our graph. Muna itong given niya graph. First step, again, let us simply draw a vertical line to the graph. So, draw itong mga vertical line. Kung mag-draw sa vertical line, atong i-check if how many points ang na-touch sa atong line. Does any vertical line touch more than 1 point? The answer is yes. As you can see, atong graph, kana nga point and this one, di ba mo na naigo sa atong vertical line test? Vertical line, kani. Okay. Since a vertical line does pass through more than 1 point, the graph fails the vertical line test. So the relation is not a function. Okay, last topic for quarter 3, dependent and independent variables. In a Cartesian plane, there are x-axis and y-axis and the point of origin, which is 0. Variables may be dependent and independent. Dependent variable, from the word dependent, depends on the independent variable, while the independent variable controls the dependent variable. So the x values are considered the independent variable because any integer can be assigned to it. The y values are considered the dependent variable because its value depends on the value of x. For example number 5, for us to understand well about dependent and independent variable. Example number 5. Every summer vacation, Ryan reads a Wattpad during his leisure time. Spends the same amount of time reading every day. The number of hours he spends reading every day determines how many days it will take him to finish the book. Let H be the number of hours Ryan spends reading every day, and D be the number of days it will take Ryan to finish reading. The question: which of the variables is independent and which is the dependent variable? What do you think? Okay, here is the solution. Our dependent variable is the number of days it will take Ryan to finish reading, while our independent is the number of hours Ryan spends reading every day. Why? Because the number of days it will take Ryan to finish reading will depend on the number of hours he spends reading every day. For you to check yourself kung naka-follow ba or nakasabot ba sa itong discussion, you answer activity number 1. For letter A, you find the domain and range of the following relation. So sa'yo na sa letter B, you write f if it is a function, otherwise not function in f. And letter C, you write the independent variable and dependent variable. As you can see in your module or learning activity sheet, I provided a answer K. So sa activity number 1, muna dyan mga answer K. So before ka magtanaw sa answer K, answer is ato daan ha, para ma-check ni mo yung kaugalingon kung nakasabot ba or wala. Then this one, activity number 2, muna dyan answer K sa activity after sa discussion sa week 4. Alright. Okay, let us continue with our discussion. We are now in week 4. Still, our topic is all about relations and functions. In the previous lesson, you have learned how the domain and range of the relation are defined. The domain of the function, again, is the set of all permissible values of x. Ito sila ang domain that give real values for y. Similarly, the range of the function is the set of permissible values for y, or f of x, that give the values of x real numbers. Okay, at this point in time, we will determine the domain and range of a function in a form of equation. So kaganiha, this basic, our relation is represented in a form of ordered pair. So how about if the given relation is like this, a form of function or equation? Okay, our function is defined as y equals the square root of negative 2x plus 3. And to find the domain class, again, let us bear in mind that if we say domain, that is all the values of x. So what are the possible values of x in this function that will give a real values for y? Here's the solution. The domain class is all values that x can take on. The only problem of this function is that you cannot have a negative square. So meaning, dili pwede ang value sa x that will result in negative value right after we substitute it to this one, the result sa radical. So saan man eh. So let us set the insides greater than or equal to 0 and solve. So in this case, kung nakasolve yun sa radical, for us to get the domain, all we have to do is to equate it to greater than or equal to 0. Why greater than or equal to 0? Because ang value ng negative 2x plus 3 should not be negative. So meaning to say, negative values are excluded. Dili pwede nga naman. If it's square root of negative, the result of that is imaginary. So we cannot determine the domain. So, again, mo nang atong i-equate si Jaog greater than or equal to 0. To solve for that, you simply transpose positive 3 to the right side of the equation. It will become negative. So, negative 2x greater than or equal to negative 3. And since we have equivalent, it's negative 2, this one, so we must divide both sides by negative 2. So negative 2, negative 3 over negative 2. Pinaka-note na diha, I enclose it by a parenthesis that in inequality, if we divide both sides by negative, the inequality symbol must be changed to its opposite. So meaning, kung mag-divide ata diha og negative, kung negative ang atong coefficient, so negative ang atong gi-divide, this one. So kung negative ang atong gi-divide, automatically, ang ato pong symbol, this one, ma-change. So greater than or equal to man na, mahimo siyang less than or equal to. So mahimo na siyang 2x less than or equal to 3. Divide na to 2. So the value of x now is less than or equal to 3 halves or 3 over 2. So, meaning, all the values of x that will satisfy in this given function are only the values less than or equal to 3 halves. So, meaning, the domain is all x less than or equal to 3/2. Kaya nga naman di ay greater than. Sa result, ma-imaginary. So, dili pwede. So, ang pwede lang is less than or equal to 3/2. Then the range, as we define ang range, all the output or the set of all second coordinate. Result, right after we substitute the value of x. The range is all real numbers. Why all real numbers? Because as we defined, the range is the set of all outputs, the set of second coordinate, or set of all y's, tanang value sa y. So, kano real numbers man? Because if we substitute the value of x, set of all values of x is less than or equal to 3/2, diba the result is positive? So, meaning, pwede. So, we can extract the square root of all positive numbers. And since we extract it by a square root, the result is always positive and negative. So, meaning, tanang numbers pwede. That is why ang range is all real numbers. Another example, okay, we have determine the domain of each function below. So, domain lagi pangita. So, sayon na ni f of x equals 3x. So, dili ma-confuse aning f of x class. Kaya ang kanang f of x is the same as y. So, f of x or y equals 3x. F of x or y equals x squared. So, sa mga domain ani. So, linear function man ni siya. So, 3x. There is no value of x that makes the function f undefined. Thus, the domain f of x equals 3x is the set of real numbers, or na form of set builder notation, the set of x such that x is an element of real numbers. Ngayon naman, tanang value sa x, pwede. Pwede negative, pwede positive. There's always an output of y. So, walay value sa x na maka-undefined sa function. Example number 2, f of x equals x squared. Still, there's no value of x that will make our function undefined. So, pwede ratanang values, pwede positive, pwede negative. Therefore, our domain is the set of real numbers, or set x such that x is an element of real numbers. Let us continue. Linear function is defined by f of x or y. Kanang f of x class ha, the same na as y, di maglibog, equals mx plus b, where kaning m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So, ang kanay y-intercept ng b, mga real numbers ni sila, ato ni pulihan og numbers unya. That is just a variable that represent our value. M and b, again, are all real numbers. And m, or the slope, should not be equal to 0. So, dili pwede ma-0 ng m. The degree of the function is 1 and its graph is a line. So, if we say a linear function, kung ato na yung graph, later ato na i-graph, that is a line. Take note, the degree of the function is 1. Kasi meaning ang degree of the function, the highest exponent of x. So, kung wala kayo makita ang exponent diha, x itself, so meaning, that is a linear function. Otherwise, kung x squared na diha, x cubed, then it's not a linear function. Let's have an example. Example number 3. Is the function f defined by f of x equals 2x plus 3 a linear function? If yes, determine the slope m and the y-intercept b. Our given function is in a form of this one. F of x equals mx plus b. Take a look at the degree of the function. Kung saan ba yung highest exponent? 1. Kawa tayo lang nakita ang exponent. So the answer is yes. That is a linear function. So since this is a linear function, we can now determine the slope m. So asa man yung m? M is the coefficient of x. So ang number tapad sa x. So meaning our m is 2, or the slope m is 2. And b, the y-intercept, this one, is 3. So our y-intercept b is 3. Example number 4. Is the function g of x defined by g of x equals negative x a linear function? If yes, determine its slope and y-intercept. Okay, solution. The answer is yes, because our degree of the function is 1. So, wala lang nakita dyan nga exponent. And because this is a linear function, we can now determine its slope. So, kung sa may slope ano coefficient sa x. Okay, nakita ng number diha, wala. So, wala. So, kung wala gani, diba? Kung natay variable, kung wala kay number makita, there is a imaginary 1. So, our slope is negative 1 and y-intercept is 0. So, kung wala kay nakita diha nga b, diba? Itong b na ito mo na ang number. So, kung wala kay number nga makita, automatically 0 na siya. So that is our y-intercept. Example number 5. Is the function h defined by h of x, x squared plus 5x plus 4 a linear function? Okay, our solution is not a linear function because its degree is 2, not 1, as you can see. Let us continue. A linear function can be described using its graph. So meaning, a linear function pwede ni siya graph. Okay, how? Let's answer this one. Example number 6. Determine the values of the function f if f of x equals 2x minus 1 at x equals negative 3, 0, and 2. Give their meanings and ordered pairs. Solution. To determine the values of the given function, all we have to do is just substitute the values of x to the given function. Then the resulting value, that is our value of y. So it's a matter of substitution. Here's the solution. If x equals negative 3, then our function f of x equals 2x minus 1 becomes f of negative 3. So, ang kaning atong value sa x, ato lang nang ipuli sa x sa atong function. So, instead of f of x, mahimo na ng f of negative 3 equals 2 times negative 3. Ay 2x man So, mahimo ng 2 times negative 3 minus 1. Ang kanang parentheses, this one, ang meaning ana is multiplication. Okay, to continue, we have f of negative 3 equals negative 6 minus 1. That is 2 times negative 3. That's negative 6 minus 1. Continue. F of negative 3 equals negative 7. That is negative 6 minus negative 1. It's negative minus, so they're the same. They're both negative. So, the result is negative 7. Diba? If we have the same sign, just combine. So, f of negative 3 is negative 7. Which means the value of f at x equals negative 3 is negative 7. Or if x equals negative 3, then y equals negative 7. This gives the ordered pair negative 3, negative 7. Recall that an ordered pair can be written in a form of x, y. So, kung balik sa ganihang discussion, ang negative 3 mo na ang value sa x, ang negative 7 mo na ang value sa y. Ang input mo na ang output. Mo na atong disubstitute mo ni ang result. Pa-follow? Let's continue. If x equals 0, since ato mang i-evaluate ang kaning tulo ka values, negative 3, 0, and 2. So if x equals 0, then f of x, 2x minus 1, becomes f of 0 equals 2 times 0 minus 1. Again, it's a matter of substitution. So ang kaning atong 0, atong naipuli sa imong x. So mahimo ng f of 0, then 2 times 0 minus 1. So that's it. F of x equals 0 minus 1 because 2 times 0 is 0. So our f of 0 now equals negative 1. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Which means the value of f at x equals 0 is negative 1. Or if x equals 0, then y equals negative 1. This gives another ordered pair 0, negative 1. Okay. If x equals 2, last one. So manata. So x is negative 3, x equals 0. So we have this one. If x equals 2, then f of x equals 2x minus 1 becomes f of 2 equals 2 times 2 minus 1. Again, it's a matter of substitution. Ang atong x nga 2, atong ipuli diri sa x. So mo nang nahimong f of 2, then ipuli na po niya sa 2 times 2x, at ipuli niya sa x. So mahimo lang 2 times 2 minus 1. So that is f of 2 equals 4 minus 1. So our f of 2 now equals 3. Since 4 minus 1 equals 3, which means the value of f at x equals 2 is 3. Or if x equals 2, then y equals 3. This gives another ordered pair 2, 3. Okay. This implies that the graph of the function f will pass through the points negative 3, negative 7, 0, negative 1, and 2, 3. Out of the values, we can have the table below. Here are the values of x. Ano sila ganiha ang mga values sa x na to? Negative 3, 0, 2. Then this is our function f of x or katong y. So mo na yung mga outputs. Diba? When x is negative 3, ang y is negative 7. When x is 0, ang y is negative 1. When x is 2, our y is 3. Okay. So with the use of table of values of x and y, the function can be graphed as shown below. This is now the graph. So negative 3, negative 7. Asa may napit? Negative 3, negative 7. So this one is point A. Then 0, negative 1. So 0, negative 1. So ano na 0, negative 1. And 2, 3. 2, 3. Again, for you to check yourself kung naka-follow sa atong discussion sa week 4, you answer this one, activity number 2, A and B. Find the domain and range of the function. Answer 1, 2, and 3. Then This one, letter B. Ang solution ani, itong i-show kaganiha, itong activity number 2. Again, before ka mo tanaw sa answer K, please answer sa ania by your own, kaya para ma-check kung nakamao ba. The last part of your learning activity sheet is the summative test. This one. This is 1 to 10, multiple choice. All you have to do is to choose the letter of the correct answer and write it on the space provided before the item number. So, anha lang mag-answer. Then, ipass ninyo yung appeal. Inig return na sa inyong answer sheets. Okay? I hope na nakatabang ning video tutorial. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for you to be updated for the next tutorial. God bless and keep safe.